Hello, everybody.
Hello, Graham.
How we doing? Hey, Lauren.
Hey,
I was having trouble finding the link. Did you resend a link in the last day or two? I clicked on the old one, but
no, and I always use the same link. So I just make your meeting a recurring meeting on Zoom. So it's the same link every time.
okay, yeah, I clicked on it. It's on my calendar. I wasn't sure. It came up a little different, but I sent out some emails before this meeting and to order at 6:09 p.m. on Tuesday the 15th. Approval of the prior minutes, December 1st. I think Rich sent them out. Anyone have any comments? Well, I guess anyone want to make a motion for discussion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I
second
seen
it.
it. Yeah, could you? Yeah, thank you. I can't.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So old business, the RFP development, review feedback. So Rich very, very nicely volunteered to write a draft up the RFP. So I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, just to make the thought process easy, and I tried to explain that today. I looked at the schedule of what's coming in 2021. And if you back it out, we need to present an RFP like yesterday. In fact, we're about 3 months behind.
Well, Rich, before you go into the thing I sent this afternoon was
Looking at the process, and the process is, oh, that's what's in front of me?
that's the schedule from the town
schedule?
legal council came through with the schedule of what it's actually going to take to get to a referendum. And we were being a little optimistic about the process and the milestones. So so it stretches it out quite a bit, but we do need to get the RFP. The first step is us making a recommendation to put an RFP to the selectmen to put together an RFP, draft RFP, which I think with some tweaks this would survive. So at that point, it kind of takes a process beyond us. So I think the next selectmen meeting is January 12th. So I think based on this, and it's a little different than what's written here, but I think we make a recommendation to proceed and we provide them with this draft RFP, which will then be reviewed by the entities that be.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say. So the homework would be behind us instead of in front of us.
Right. So
And yeah. And only I ask of the committee is just take a look at the verbiage. If it's okay, if that's what you want to present, that's the only reason why I did it.
So I thought we were doing the draft RFP I thought we were submitting an RFP so we could get information to inform our spreadsheet. We were validating assumptions that we made in the spreadsheet. Because making a recommendation based on, as we've called them, wild guesses, or educated wild guesses, is not a thing to base a decision upon.
Well, I don't think we necessarily have to make a single recommendation. I think a recommendation can be to proceed with an RFP and limit it to, a certain number of uses. But I think, it's in our best interest to keep it relatively open so that the various people can competitively negotiate, we can get a best deal. But we know what we're almost certainly going to do, either residential or a school, right?
Yeah. So, that seems to be the going sentiment in town. Also, those are the things that our, decision matrix informed. I would now. I'm just trying to see how we get to an end.
I think after when we make a recommendation on January 12th, I think that kind of concludes our official role, and then it becomes purchasing RFP selection, and then they can bring us back in to help us.
I apologize. There's a lot of background noise on somebody's line. It's kind of hard to follow the conversation.
I think that's Rich. Yeah. Can you hear? Is that better now?
Yes, much. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, I can see Graham's lips moving, so that's a little bit easier.
got it. So, yeah, so so our charge was to make a recommendation. Our end of goal was to make a recommendation to Board of Selectmen. So I think at this point, we're pretty much ready to make a recommendation. And then in addition, we're gonna, provide a draft fee for their consideration. And obviously we'll comment this and we'll get rich comments over the next week. And I have a few points. There are some major decisions we need to make relative to some of the format things. So we can talk about that also. But I think that's the plan. And then the process becomes more formalized. It becomes
Are we going to present them? Are we going to present them a formal report, or is the formal report going to be the presentation that's given at the Board of Selectmen meeting?
Well, I think that's something we have to discuss, and we've already given them some information. The most important thing we haven't really shared with them is the kind of financial model, and we need to determine how much we share with them publicly. And and I've talked to Al a little bit. I think we do that in executive session, or at the very least we share it generically. We don't give them some of the assumptions we made because those are proprietary. I wouldn't want to tip the hand. So, but we could either share that confidentially with selectmen and say, well, this is what we're thinking, or if failing that, we could just say, this is the model and these are the parameters we're looking at, common sense real estate pro forma kind of stuff.
Okay. And I know we were supposed to set up a meeting or get somebody from the assessor's office here. Is that something we're going to consider too in order to inform information? And the assessor's office to tell us basically, so I know just from looking, I know that the Grove School pays a bunch of money in taxes. I know the country school pays next to nothing in property taxes. We've gotten, reassurance from OLM that they would be buying with the intent of paying some kind of tax, right? That's what they had told us in their presentation. Which model are we going to follow with them? Would we, more reliably say the Grove School model, or would we, how would we be able to account for those numbers in our
Well, a couple things with that. So yeah, so they're saying they're going to be a for-profit school, which the Grove School is for. I think the appraised value would be dependent on what they pay for it. The appraisal is $5 million, but if they pay 2.5, then I think that resets the appraisal back to 2.5 until they put $5 million into the building. So what they pay in taxes is, unless they were going to negotiate a pilot program up front and they said they were going to pay us, X, based on $5 million. But I kind of asked that question and they're not really interested in tipping their hand. So I think you have to go through the RFP process and make them put their cards in.
To see what the proposal is.
Right, because you heard them last week. They're a little coy, but which makes sense because they don't want to pay more than they have to. If they could get it for $1, they would.
Right.
Who wouldn't? Right.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Graham, maybe I ought to just step in here for a minute.
Yep.
I think what the selectmen would like to hear from the committee is your findings to date, what you have learned. Some of it may need to be presented in executive session and some in open session. And I guess the second thing is the draft of the RFP would be very, very helpful so that we can get that timeline started. My perspective is once the proposals are returned from the folks that are interested in responding to our RFP, then the committee and the selectmen can apply the findings of the committee in evaluating those proposals that we get back, so that all of the good work that you've done will be used to evaluate whatever proposals we receive. And that looks like a late spring, early summer timeframe for that. I hope that clarifies Jason's question or whoever else asked, but I think this is a great time for the selectmen to hear about all of your findings and the public really to hear about your findings. And I know you've presented much of it already. There may be a few more pieces that haven't yet been presented to the selectmen, but this is the right time to do it.
Yeah, the RFP and the financial model are the two pieces that have been, we haven't presented yet.
I think Lauren and town council and Peggy are going to have to determine whether some of it is presented in executive session and some in open session. I don't think we should attempt to decide that here tonight. But I think the selectmen should hear about all of your findings, including the financial model, which I think will be very helpful when we evaluate the proposals that come back.
Thanks, Al. I think that, I mean, that's very helpful for me. I don't know if, so I know I just sent out the schedule, which kind of goes through the formality of the process and all the nuances to get to a referendum in November, which will be the local election, I believe, right? Or is that the week after? Is it the 18th?
I think we should assume it's election day.
Okay, that seems a little late, but
Yeah, it does. And I don't think that date's quite right. This is just a draft.
yeah, give or take, yeah.
I thought the selectmen and the committee needed to see it so that we all understand the timeline.
Yeah, exactly, the process. So yeah, I think that's just very helpful to clarify that. So does anyone have any questions about, I mean, to digest this, but that's kind of the plan of attack.
So the selectmen meet on, I think it's January the 12th. Did we decide it's the first, it's the second Tuesday of the month?
So we are, Graham, we are gonna do a written submittal too, in addition to that.
I mean, we can do a quote unquote report, a final report or a presentation. Yeah, we probably should maybe bundle something up.
Okay.
I think what was just requested makes a lot of sense, but can we meet that week between Christmas and New Year's? Because I feel like what was requested is going to take some preparation for us and above just email exchange.
Yeah, we try to set up a Zoom meeting prior the week before because it's the 12th,
Yeah.
so we have a little time the prior week after the
Right.
New Year.
I mean, we have our normal meeting on the 29th if people are okay to meet that week between Christmas and New Year's. Otherwise, yeah, we could meet right after the New Year, but before the board of selectmen meeting.
Yeah, we'd have to have a special meeting if we do it that. Yeah, but we could do that, and that's not a big deal. Well, I guess we have the 29th, so I guess we can get consensus on that. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing is looking at the RFP, that's out there now. And I think, Rich, in your email, one of the biggest things you said is the use of Colliers. Obviously, you use that as a template. So we need to, think about that. And we don't currently have any funds to pay Colliers. And I think they got paid like 10 grand to do this process on Academy. I'm not positive, but or slightly less than 10 grand based on the history of procurement. And that would require us going to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance, I believe, to get that funding.
Yeah, that would be it was about 10,000 and it would come out of the planning reserve and it would require approval by both boards.
So I think that's probably suboptimal.
So, I mean, we're just doing a draft anyway. So the actual RFP would go February. So we have a little time. But, I don't know if everybody has read through this. I do have one concern that some of this is proprietary. And I'm not sure
Rich,
that.
can you mute, or where's the noise coming from? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's Rich's. So yeah, I just in my own mind, some of this is somewhat proprietary process that we're usurping. I think we have. I don't think we necessarily need them, but I just want to clear in my own mind that we're taking someone else's work and kind of crossing off machine gun and insert pizza oven, so to speak. I mean, the council, we could ask council. No, obviously the council and purchasing are going to have to review this document extensively, to vet it anyway, which they already did, I assume, last time. But that's, so those are some of the unknowns. I don't know. What do people feel about needing Colliers? Rich, when you were writing it, were you thinking, I'd like to have someone else's opinion on this stuff? Or what was your take when you're writing it?
When my take on the whole document is put as much as you can in front of us. and we could always pull out. It's easier to take things out versus put things in. So I kept the Colliers in there only because, to leave it up to this committee and the Board of Selectmen. It's not a determination. Obviously, it wasn't for me. It was just,
Yeah, no, yeah, it was good. And put it, yeah, I agree. Everything was included. And some of the stuff I might pull out as appendices and whatever, but it's all here, which is a good. So I don't know, Jason, so do you have a preference one way or the other for if we had the money?
I mean, I think I'm not into paying Colliers any more money than we already have. I don't know that they have a history of having positive outcomes here. I think that's for the Board of Selectmen to decide once we've passed off to them if they think that the RFP is a draft and they want Colliers to finalize something. I don't know.
I agree with Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
I mean, to be frank, I haven't been impressed by the things that Colliers has put out. Maybe my standards are a little bit too high, but I would want to go fork them over another 10 grand to write an RFP for us.
Yeah, and I agree with Jason, because if the purpose of our RFP is just to collect information to substantiate a proposal, we're not actually doing a full RFP that is then going to kind of be used for a decision, an ultimate decision on this property. I think the Board of Selectmen would do their own RFP if they wanted to sell the property. So if this is just more informative at this stage, in terms of what the options are, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of appetite for spending money at this stage. I would rather have the Board of Selectmen dictate that.
I like the wording of that comment. I think it would be a good idea to present this as an informative document, not a recommended RFP, but this is what the committee thinks the RFP might look like. I think you're correct. I think the selectmen need to make a determination as to whether we need outside help or whether we have the in-house capability between the committee and the staff to generate this kind of a document. I have no idea how the selectmen will react to that question.
Yeah, but I agree wholeheartedly with Jason's comment. If this is a first draft, and I think, if we're all agreeing this is for information purposes, I think we want to err on the side of not spending money on this version. And if the Board of Selectmen would like more information, something more formal, then we can evaluate that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think
Correct.
maybe
that was the intent. It's for information.
So maybe we should make that the real estate advisor generic. Maybe remove the word Collier's name, but put in a blank for a real estate advisor blank. Just so it's not quite overt, so we can have some cover. Like where because I don't think we should put it. I don't think we should give a draft saying Colliers, because they might wonder why we're saying that. But I think if we just say they're advisors, or whomever that might be, legal advisor, could be the counsel, could be our attorney,
stakeholders.
Yeah. Because someone,
Is me, or do you want someone else to do that?
Well, I think everyone. I like to get everyone's input.
I would like to contribute. So
Jason,
I would be happy to.
It's all yours.
I'd be happy to contribute.
Yeah, it's all yours. You have. Did I send it out in Word or PDF?
I think you sent it out in Word.
Okay, it's all yours.
That was quick, Rich.
Yeah, well,
no
yeah.
fight there.
I mean, maybe we could, yeah, and I think that's great. But I think maybe we should just have, because because we have like multiple people on the committee that might want to have input. So maybe rather than change the document, comment on this document, and then we can discuss the comments collectively. You know what I mean? So whether we do a PDF editor of this or something like that, where we can
we can put it in. We can open it in Google Docs and just set it to have everybody's comments and/or modifications put in.
Right, because I mean, we have so many chefs. I wouldn't want to get into
Yeah.
bouncing the document around, infinite amount of time. So I think that's a good idea. And then we can, because
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the point process for like collaborating on everything and organizing the collaboration. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sign up to be the only person to do it.
No. Understood. I think, yeah. Okay. So,
No, that's again, I apologize the only reason I did this is that I had the software, I could convert a picture PDF, meaning and I just said, let me just get started. And then all of a sudden it just flowed. So I figured I might as well do it, put something together, get it out to the committee.
no, that was great. That's exactly what the intent was last time, because we got to start somewhere. I just want to make sure, doesn't, gets their input. But I think that's the way to do it. Yeah. So this is perfect. I think Jason's right. If we just want to, capture everyone's comments, including the people who aren't here, on the meeting tonight, so they have their input.
Yeah, we got a number of stakeholders.
Which, by the way, yeah, a little side note is I took that 50-year-old document on the deed, and that was converted to a Word document. So I guess I have to be careful sometimes.
Did you change the grammar? Because I was that was one of my comments, because by incorporating it in a Word document, it opens up the possibility the deed could be changed.
Well, I could have, but I said, nah, better not.
Yeah. So I may suggest we include the deed as the actual attachment, as the actual physical copy, just to avoid any confusion along those lines. But that's a minor point. So is everyone, so relative to the schedule and the RFP process, does anyone have any comments or questions, further questions?
Another note,
I think you're freezing, Rich. Still there?
I'm here. If I lose you, I'll dial back in. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a Comcast outage notice for both cable and TV for Madison. So.
Okay. Yeah. I just noticed the signal became very weak.
Yeah.
So are we finished with this topic, or?
I think we are. So if everyone would just, well, I guess how we're going to do this. So you sent out it was a Word document, or?
Everybody has a Word document. I sent it out PDF today just to quickly get it out. Jason, you could start with track changes, send it out as a group.
Yeah.
Where I suggest is the initial introduction paragraph. Take a look at that. I put it together with the intent of just using, the construct the whatever development's going to be. Forget it taking out the commercial, because it's not going to be commercial. Take a look at the verbiage there. The next section really is a short version of the deed, just describing the property, and then everything else is copied from the academy, and then just cleaned up, formatted. So that's the document you have. And so if you want to take it, add track changes, send it to the group.
We will do that.
And then if there's
I will be the point person for the information gathering, with the intent of having a
that'd be great.
completed document on
Okay.
What are we looking for? We're looking for before the end of the year, Graham?
Yeah, our next meeting in 2 weeks, the 29th, assuming it works for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
And a couple minor. So in the RFP, they mentioned a phase 1 environmental site assessment. I don't know if that was a carryover or if that was a I don't know if that was actually, was that done or was that from the other RFP?
I thought we had something. I'm trying to put, the other part of this is I was trying to pull in all the work we've done, and we've done quite a bit. We had the site assessment. We had the environmental reports. You know, we know that the oil tanks were pulled out, and I couldn't find the letter. I think Lauren sent that out earlier. So I'm trying to gather everything, and I just put as much as I can in the appendix or the exhibit section, recognizing that's going to change.
Yeah. Because I don't think we did a phase 1. They did some asbestos testing, but I don't think it was phase 1 done. To my recollection, could be wrong.
Okay. Again, Jason's the keeper of the keys, and just use the format.
We'll make it work.
Got it. Good. Okay, so so item 4, public outreach. So obviously we had public outreach. I don't know if we need to do more public outreach, or the Board of Selectmen probably, that meeting will act as kind of a public outreach, again. So that's on the 12th, and that's in the morning, Al. You guys 8 a.m. on the 12th? I believe you put
Yes.
the 2 days. Okay.
Yep.
So everyone mark their calendar for 8 a.m. Tuesday, which is a lot better than Mondays. Is the PM meetings going to be Monday night, or are they going to be Tuesday night too? Or
They'll still be Monday night.
okay, you won't be competing with Monday Night Football though in the spring, so that's good. Okay, so our next public meeting will be presenting this in the RFP to the Board of Selectmen on the 12th. Now, new business.
Wait, so can we make a decision? Are we meeting on the 29th to prep for that Board of Selectmen meeting, or should we push that meeting to the 5th of January and give Lauren enough time to announce the change in date?
I think that we should be here for the 29th to give us advanced start on whatever kind of PowerPoint presentation we're going to be giving them. And then we should probably get together again right before the selectmen meeting to make sure that, we all agree on what we're saying and what we're presenting.
I'm fine seeing
Since
tonight. I didn't know if people were.
This could be leading to a finale. So,
Agreed.
or
No, I'm totally
a stop
fine.
work.
I'm fine to meet that week between Christmas and New Year's. I just wanted to ask the question in case others had, holiday plans that would interfere with us being able to meet.
No, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, good.
We've got nothing going on this year.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll meet the 29th.
Yeah, it's just everyone, the members aren't here. They've got it on their calendar already, and then we can discuss that about doing a special meeting. But that's usually a relatively short time frame. We can do that in a few days. Put a public notice for that meeting, but the public for the Board of Selectmen that week in January.
That sounds good.
Okay. Let's see. New business. Nothing new on the deed. I'll skip over that. New offerings. Oh, I do want to mention that I did reach out in light of the OLM people. I reached out to the Country Day School people just to extend them the opportunity to make a presentation if they wanted to, because we've given them. I didn't want to give anybody an inside track. So they were interested in coming and talking to us, but they were going to talk to their board, and we can hear their take. They expressed interest previously, so I think it'd be worth them. I think they're a nonprofit, so I don't know if how that would work. So I don't know if people would have, how they feel about hearing from the day school people.
I think we should be careful about specifically inviting certain groups. So in the case of OLM, they joined as a guest. They joined as a public attendee, and that was fine. But I don't want us to. We're never going to anticipate all of the groups that may want to make a case. So I want us to be careful about like us proactively inviting and let the groups kind of come as part of public comment. So that's my personal opinion.
I would second that. I think that the RFP is going to be open to everybody. So if an organization like the Country School or an organization like, I don't know, the Shoreline Arts Alliance or somebody wants to, put in something that's within the requirements of the request, then they're more than welcome to. The Board of Selectmen will be able to evaluate their, requests in the same method that we've evaluated all the other ones.
Yeah, I think if anybody wants to come as public comment, that's fine. But we have this task to not even just think about it as a school as the only option. So I don't necessarily want to be seen as only hearing from the schools, and somebody who's got a dog park business or whatever feels slighted or that this was a biased diligence.
Well, I
So
think
that's
that
what I'm saying.
I think that if it was, should we reach out to Milano and ask what Milano would do with it? I know that we can't use any kind of industrial park or anything like that, but I don't think that we would be looking to reach out to Milano, right? Or somebody or a developer like Milano that does residential.
No, it was just a school because of the strong advocacy for a school by many people.
Yeah.
My
would
personal
vote
opinion is
against
that
reaching
should
out.
still be dictated. But my personal opinion is that should still be dictated by the schools or whoever wanting to attend as part of public comment. I think if we are reaching out and encouraging anyone to speak and to participate, that could be seen as a biased action. And I'm just sensitive to that.
I guess
I think
I
I agree.
Yeah,
I
same here.
think I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I think this is a judgment call by the committee. I don't have an opinion either way. I think the charge the selectman handed you was pretty broad and said you could talk to anybody you chose to talk to. And secondly, I guess as far as town council is concerned, until the RFP is issued, you can talk to anybody you want to. That doesn't mean I'm urging you to entertain visitors. I'm just pointing out, I think it's your call. I don't think there's a right or a wrong to this.
Yeah, I guess if they wanted to show up in a public comment, but nobody. I mean, whether that is probably not going to happen between now and the RFP process. Anyway, we're getting pretty close to writing the RFP. So,
I think the key date is when the RFP is issued. At that
Right.
point, I think this committee needs to be very prudent in who it meets with.
right, and that even gets to the question of the Board of Selectmen, do we give them the draft RFP and that becomes public record? I mean, I don't know if should we even be issuing that to the Board of Selectmen in a draft form, because that's.
Yeah.
A draft is not FOIA-able, so it's not public record as long as it's labeled a draft.
Okay, so Rich, put a big watermark. Oh, you got it already.
I already knew that Lauren was going to say that.
Yeah. So, okay, so it's a draft, so it's not FOIA-able. Okay. So we just can't,
It's a draft.
yeah, okay. So I guess we send it to the selectmen for their review. We just have to be careful how we distribute that information, right? Not that it's any great guns secret, to be honest. We're hoping to just get at least one or two bidders, to be honest. So,
I just as a footnote, when I went over there to take the pictures, we went down there and, you get on the property and it feels alive, and then you go over to Academy and there's a building that's just sitting there. And I don't know, I walk around that Island Avenue school and it just feels like it should be a school, whether or not it ends up being a school, but it feels alive. There's pictures in the window, things like that. They're certainly taking good care of the property.
Yeah, worse things could certainly happen than continuing a successful operation of a school for the town.
Correct. You know, I look at what's going on in, is Clinton, where they took down the high school and such. That building was vacant and such. But Island Avenue that area is alive. It's got a good vibe. Just an opinion.
Right. Understood. Yeah. So if worse things could happen, then like I said, if we get the
Right.
get to maximize the return per our charge and whatever,
Right.
and it may not be strictly a financial decision. I think the town, if I had to guess where the vote would be, and we haven't talked about doing another poll. I mean, I don't think we need to necessarily, official, independent poll. I mean, I think we kind of know where it's going.
But wasn't the first poll like a draft? Don't we have to take like the next level down? I remember having that discussion.
Well, we've talked about doing a formal, a similar poll they did Academy, where they actually reached out to a statistically random population and asked the question. So and then that cost like 10 grand. I see what you're there. So that costs money, and then that would inform us, and maybe it might come back 75-25. They want a school, but I don't know if that would change as issuing an RFP for both options to keep our options open.
Yeah, the only other point was on the survey we took. Has anybody gone into the responses on who they were, and were they associated with one organization over another? I want to make sure we created a good selection, a base to work with.
I mean, I guess after the RFP process, we could go out again and do the poll. I think maybe they did do that. I don't remember if the poll was after they put out the RFPs or before the RFPs. It may have been after the RFPs.
I don't know if the poll responses had any sort of identifier, because we've been hypothesizing that maybe OLM had a bunch of people complete it, but I don't know that we were able to really verify that.
I looked at Jason.
I don't think that we can verify that either.
Yeah.
I don't think we can verify either. But to think they didn't is probably foolish. But more power to them if they can generate if the final decision is to go to OLM, right? And they can generate that, then they can help. Their organization can help to support what the town wants or what the town recommends to the electorate, right? If they can generate that kind of support, then that's an organization that the town wants to be involved with, I think, as opposed to a developer who's not going to really try to gen up support or whatever and whatnot. So I think that even if they did skew the results of the survey in one direction, if they did have an organization that I don't think it matters. I think it's representative of something that that you would be looking for in a partner.
Yeah, just the question is, does it foretell a townwide referendum result?
Right. Well, let's put it this way: if the only people that cared enough to complete the survey were supporters of OLM, then that's telling in and of itself.
Right. I mean, that's how I had that question too, and that's how I justified it to myself. That if I was part of an organization, like I'm part of I'm on the board of Little League, and if Little League wanted to, if there was, what to do with the academy baseball fields, and if Little League wanted to make them, a new home or something like that, you can bet that I would be taking surveys, and I would be getting my Little League friends to go take surveys to say, make this Little League thing. It's just, I mean, it's how it works, right? And then when the town went to do it, they would have the expectation that, the Little League people would come out to support.
Yeah, so I guess your question is just, do we need to do another poll? And I guess that's still open. But as of right now, we're not planning on spending money on a poll when we kind of know, the consensus. Maybe when we get the RFPs and it's gray, you know, the value is such that there's a much better financial stake from one plan than the other, maybe we revisit that and before we inform us on what kind of referendum question, and do we open,
Yeah,
you know, do
I
we
mean, I
have a
think,
single question, do we two questions, do we an either or question, or should this be you know, or make one recommendation, or the selectmen make a recommendation to pick one?
But Graham, the key word here is recommendation. We're not making a final decision. So in terms of having another public comment or public poll, once we make a recommendation, that is going to be public knowledge. And there's plenty of opportunity for the public to voice either support or lack of support once that recommendation is made and before a final decision is formalized. But that's how I view it, at least.
yeah, if I think that we should, you know, if we are asked to continue to move after we submit, you know, our recommendation, I think that at that point, a survey may be more appropriate when you have a finite number of answers, you know, A, B, or C, A, B, C, or other, to gauge the final supportiveness of one aspect or another, and paying for an official survey that takes a representative sample like they did for Academy, maybe something that we can push forward with that. I think that, you know, in light of, you know, the timeline that I just looked at, and, you know, what Al said about the desires of the Board of Selectmen, you know, that they're looking for us to make a recommendation. I think that we're going to, and I think that we're going to say, you know, here's an example, or here's a draft RFP that you could look at that the board came through with, that we would like to see as a basis for any kind of, you know, information coming in. So I think that we will be able to provide them with logical, you know, fact-based decision making, you know, a framework with which to operate when they get when they do put out an RFP and get the responses back.
Yeah, no, I agree. Any other comments?
Just to remember Peggy stating, I think mentioning at the last, that we should take a look at another survey, but, you know, that's something that we can decide later.
Yeah. Got it. Let's see, I lost my agenda here.
Yeah, I just, on the new item, and I think maybe you've answered the question as far as the schedule. Graham, I've noticed we've been posting a schedule. It's a little, I think the next time we make a presentation, we align it to this, what you just sent out?
Right. Obviously, it's quite a bit longer than anticipated, but that's the process. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll update. Yeah.
The only other point I just wanted to bring up is for our 2021 schedule. I'm not sure who made a comment that Tuesday nights was not. Is Lauren set up that we continue every other Tuesday night for 2021? Is that Zoom meeting schedule already set?
I mean, that's easily changeable.
I guess the
Your
question.
2021 schedule is due to the town clerk by the end of January. So you actually would need to do a vote at your next meeting that set your 2021 schedule. So I have
Okay.
everything set up, you know, with the link, but it's easy to fix if Tuesday nights are not good for you guys.
I think, Graham, I'm just bringing it up because I forget who had an issue with Tuesday nights. And we decided to stay with it. And I knew that the calendar was coming up. So it's something that we have to take up at some soon, if we want to stay with Tuesday night or go to another night. I'm fine with Tuesday.
Hey, Lauren, I'm going to bounce out and get back in on my computer since I seem to have internet back.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday's fine for me. I don't know about the other committees. Maybe we'll send an email out to the rest of the people to make sure. As far as I know, everyone's no good on Tuesday.
Tuesday works well for me.
Yeah. With COVID and working from home, it's a lot. There's less conflicts. Hopefully we'll have a conflict.
Yeah, we just have to tell Lauren. We have to tell Lauren before the end of January. Yeah, I just want to make sure Lauren knows that either stay with the existing or
Yeah.
make a change because it's coming up. That's all I have.
Got it. Let's see. So let's see items, the special presentations. I noticed there was a question on that was added. I don't know if there was any. There's limited opportunities for making presentations. I mean, we've done outreach, but you know, I don't know how many people have actually we've actually reached to. But at this point, I don't think we have any other option. Item 6, public comment. I don't believe we have, I should have asked first. We have, Lauren, we have no comment, right? No public with us?
No public.
Got it. Does anyone have anything else?
I see Jason. Is he there? I mean, did he come back in just in case we have the meeting?
I'm here.
Yeah, no, he's here. He's back.
Okay.
I got the internet back at my house. I'd much rather be on my webcam than on my phone.
But it's more flattering too. The lighting is better for you on the webcam. Yeah. Got it. Okay, I guess we're done at so we're on for the next meeting on the 29th. Everyone have a wonderful holiday and motion for adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And
Aye.
meeting ending at 6:55. Thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
You too. Take care. Cheers.
Happy holiday.
We're getting
Bye.
close.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas. Happy holidays.
Bye.